Hello, Gail. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I have to go to the chat where I can see the real chat on the real YouTube streets. These crazy YouTube streets. Here we go. So let's see what we're going to look at today. Hi there. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Hope you can hear me. Just put a 1 up if you can hear me. I'm so paranoid now being rough and painted black had to call me that I was muted today. Or tell me. Rough called. Painted black told me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Brother John, Brother John. Morning bells are ringing. Okay, good. All right. So we kind of like taken a request. Scooter asked for that adoption video of. Now you have to understand. Jeff made a whole preview, okay, where, hold on, and then he made this preview video for me. It was a commercial. You have to understand, advertising this all week. He did this. Let me just see if I can find it. And I know that I have to like play the one because he put, the first thing is that he put in music that, let's see. Because I know it's in my copyright. Hold on, let me go in here. It comes up as a match to random guy. So he made this video for me. It's a really sweet video. The random guy's a real sweet guy. Okay. Over here. Yeah, for all my YouTube friends. Okay, so this is my video. So let me see how this works. Okay, and so where's my video? Oh, okay. Let me pull my video up. Oh, yeah. Okay, I can't play the music because, well, it's not actually copyright, but I don't know what it is. It doesn't let me do anything with the video. I don't know what it was. It's not a copyright. It's just I don't know what the music is. So, but I'm gonna play it without the music. So there's random guy. He made this video. And this was to be advertising this I don't understand. I don't remember this like this. Okay, maybe now he's got it going on. I think he's August of 2018. I think he's talking in this video. I'll have to listen to it when I'm not there. But this is just a commercial for this adoption thing. Back when the kitchen was sideways, he said, back when she hired a fantastic director and a full makeup artist and wardrobe designer, pineapples, crafts, crime, crazy stories, hospitality, hunches, food, friendship, nostalgic halls, chlamydia, that's Twilight Zone, turtles and squirrels, creepy nursery rhymes, whatever happened to chlamydia. There's Random Guy Jeff. But I thought this, maybe this was another, maybe this was a video he made for me. That is it. This is for all my YouTube friends. Oh, this wasn't to promote the adoption one, but he did have one to promote the adoption one. Good night, Gail. And that's not to this Gail. We used to have a Gail that told us we had to go to bed, okay? She told us we had to go to bed. I'm sorry, that wasn't to promote the YouTube. That was something he made for all of us. Okay? Anyway, that is not the, there's a little snow babies. That is not the adoption video. Hold on 1 minute. That's not the adoption video. I mean, that's not the adoption, you know what I'm saying, the adoption commercial he made. That is not it. Okay. Let me go. Let me go to the adoption video. Hang on now, okay? Thank you. But I'm going to show you the, hold on. Hold on, please. We went to videos, we'll go by. Hang on. Got a lot of videos. Okay. We are up to pictures. And Jeffrey. Where are you, Jeffrey? 2019. I've just got to get to 2019, okay? I'm on 2018 right now. Now I'm going right into 2019. All right. My first Chris Watts stuff. Tons of fun. Patrick Frazee, Kelsey Barrett. Susie Snooze giveaway. Cheese board giveaway. Bunch of Watt stuff. Making hard-boiled eggs in the Instant Pot. Can you imagine I'm doing that? Spritz butter cookies with chocolate bottoms. From best way to grow pineapples. Ice cream cakes. Come on, Jeffrey, where are we? The point is, I want you to understand we were promoting this for about a week. What Jeff said is that I met this lady. I'm like, where did you meet her? He said, I met her in one of these Facebook groups or something, because he had something about adoption. Remember that Scooter? He was either adopted or there was something that was about, but I don't think he was adopted. Was he, Scooter? What was the deal with adoption? Why was he in there? He was in there for some reason, okay? And he met this lady, and he's like, Carolyn, I think she'd be a great guest to have on the show. Okay, here it is. Upcoming special event. Okay, I can play it. Hold on. Let me play it. So he gets us all psyched for it. He says, she's really great. You're going to like it. You know, it's really good. It's going to be good. Let's start promoting it. She's going to come on. She's going to talk. I met her in this thing. I'm like, okay. So he makes this video. This Friday. Well, he has this going so fast. Hold on. This Friday, October 18th, on the Best channel, he did this video. Since online shopping hit the internet, and nostalgia and pineapples. Made a collision course out of a fake kitchen, because they called my kitchen fake. Mommy Ramblings blog special guests. Okay. So how could anyone be so alone? Susan Pleva. And I have cousins named Pleva, so I'm like, okay. Come see why. Okay. So we promoted this thing, right? Okay. Comes to the big night. We're all, big night. Everybody get in here. All right, let's go and see what happened on that big night. I'll give you a hint. He sent me an email during it, and he goes, how much do you hate me? I could read his name. I'm like, I don't hate you, Jeff, but what the heck is going on? Okay. So let me get this. Hang on. He made this thumbnail, right? Okay. Let me get back to the chat so I can see you guys. Hi, Victoria, and how are everybody? So Jeff made this thumbnail and everything. We're all ready here. We've got lots of people here watching this thing, and we're waiting. So I'm going to start putting it a little bit ahead until we open up, because I'm like, Jeff, where is she? Jeff, where is she? Earlier. That was crazy. Love your new fluff lots. Thanks.
We eat sugar.
Let's see the kids. I'm using the mug, Diana. Diana, where's Diana? She's not here yet. Diana, I'm using your mug. Hi, wake up. Okay, underage, we're good. You had a forced adoption? I'm sorry to hear that. Hi, Chatty Cathy. Are you going to come on the panel, underage? Hi, Leslie. Did we already miss the kids? No, the kids are coming. Those wine bottles. Oh, I don't think so. I think she puts them on there, right? Talks? The wine really does talk? The bottle talks? I thought that was an animated thing. No, I must be missing something. You had a prayers for you, my full heart and hands. My full heart and hands. That's Flo on the go now. What time is the show starting? 2, Scooter?
2, Scooter.
You have to use the restroom? What?
You were there.
Well, any moment now. We're just waiting for our guest to come in.
Yeah, we're just waiting for our guest.
Boy. Days have been crazy. Was a talk. Close the troll bridges. Teen crimes or something like that, Suzanne. But
Okay, they must be coming in now. You got all over your face. I'm telling you, all over your face. Luke could take a bath and wake up. He used to wake up with a dirty face. All over your face. Right on my dish towels. Oh my, great.
oh my goodness, this is.
We went to somebody's house. We eat sugar.
You ate sugar? Okay, good. They went to somebody's
Here's
house.
sugar.
They ate sugar. I wouldn't have known, right? You never would have known with Luke's
I
face.
ate like 2 slices of big, thick, big pizza. And I got full.
You're seriously getting sucked in tonight. Have a great chat, everyone. I'm off rock and roll and party. Oh, have a great cruise. Don't make it a true. Did anyone see Proud of Who I Am? Oh, who, me, just me? I knew me, just me was a troll. They always do that, just me. It's always got something like that. They're not too good on picking original troll names.
Well, they should come up with just randomly or something, huh?
Oh, they've done that. They've done that.
Jeff's
Well,
microphone
they
is
try
ridiculous.
to repeat people's names. You know, copy them. They've done that. The Poor Wildlife and Maui Chickadee. They just keep using their names over and over.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds fishy.
Sad life.
Well, Suzanne, if you're out there, go ahead and use the number that I gave you to call in. I mean, I know she has a lot of things like prepared, and I told her it's not a formal.
Oh,
We're not formal at all yet. You know?
Not at all. No, not at all.
Just relax, come in, chat. It's all good. I hope birth mother is still down there. The underage birth mom.
Yeah, underage birth mom's here. I asked her if she wanted to come on, but I didn't see if she answered that. Did she answer?
Yeah, you can figure out a way to I don't know, she could shoot you an
She can
email
email,
or something, and you
yeah.
can provide a number.
You can email me. My email's in the video description, the truecrimechat.org one.
And there was also somebody else in chat that was saying they were adopted too. Who was that?
Trudy.
I remember.
Trudy.
Trudy, okay. Yeah, I saw her down there talking about something like that. It's definitely an issue that, well, since the beginning of time, I think people have been raising other people's children, you know, by need mainly, and now it just like everything, it's turned into almost a financial, it's a business. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've spoken before about how difficult it is. Sometimes these rigorous tests that they put you through, and, you know, even to adopt a kid from overseas, it's just like an incredible headache, you know, as far as the prospective parents go too. I mean, a lot of places really put them through the ringer.
Oh yeah, China, especially China, that doesn't allow for so many things now, and then they have to get them all gifts and everything. I am sure she will be on shortly. Underage says, okay. Well, Lisa, you know, if you wanted to call on in the meantime, you're welcome to. And Jeff, how did you meet Suzanne? Do you want to tell us that?
Oh, he's going to tell us.
Sure. A few years ago, I was in an adult adoptee Facebook group, which I joined a lot of different ones at the time because I was really on the bandwagon, as you know, trying to find my biological relations at that time. And I ended up ditching most of these groups because of the stigma within the groups. Now, there's specific groups in the triad. The triad meaning the adoptee, the adopter, and the biological parent. Okay, they call that a triad. And there's groups that are just for each specific, you know, member of the triad, and then there's groups that have everybody together. And believe it or not, a lot of times people will get, like adoptees will get into it with birth moms, even though they're not their birth
This
mothers
is about
or their
2
birth
months
parents.
before he
They'll
died.
get into it because we seem to have such opposing views.
It's unbelievable.
And as Susan, when she comes on here, can confirm, it's like the best advocate or the best person to ask these questions is an adoptee. You know, we are kind of like our own experts on that. You know, anybody else that hasn't had this happen to them can't really speak on it. I mean, you can only imagine what it would be like, you know, to have been raised by somebody that wasn't, you know, related to you. I mean, it is so much deeper, and the older I've gotten, the more it has, I guess, bothered or plagued me. I mean, the more I have to face it. And that sounds really weird because the whole time when I was growing up, I don't remember a specific time when I was told I was adopted. I just always kind of knew and was cool with it. I'm just saying that I knew I was not related to them, let's call them, the adopters, but it's all I had, you know, and so that's, you know, who I tried. Now, I also told Susan this the other day when we spoke privately, that I do know that when I was born, my biological mother had already signed papers away that I was, you know, going to be taken from her. And I don't know how the information was acquired, but I did understand it that she even had like a sheet draped up, you know, in the delivery room. So she never even saw me, never even knew if I was a boy or a girl, nothing. Just totally unidentified. And at the time, they believed that the best thing to do, I mean, they understood that there was a reason for bonding, you know, physical nurturing and bonding very early on for a baby. This is in the 1970s. But they put me somewhere in the nursery where I was isolated and was instructed, I guess, by the staff and the nurses, you know, I was cloistered off not to hold me because they wanted me to bond with my, you know, adopted mother when I got handed, you know, over to her in the courts. And so they knew, you know, I guess they just stuck a bottle in my mouth to change my diaper, bare minimum, just left me there. And that's kind of, it's called the trauma, what is it called? A trauma bond. I don't know if you're familiar with that. There's a lady that wrote a book called The Primal Wound, and it talks about that integral stage with a baby's first born, you know, with needing to cling on to somebody, you know, and imagine if you're just ripped through another. Okay, Susan also had this poster up that I saw the other day on one of her sites. Sorry, I don't recall which one, but anyway, it said something about the ages that, like, puppies and kittens, to be taken away from their mother and weaned is like 10, 12 weeks is the ideal. Of course, people do it at 6 weeks. Elephants, dolphins, the larger the animal, the longer it seems to stay, under the care of its natural mother. But humans is immediate. Immediately, it's okay to take that baby away. I mean, I know you were a natural mother. Of course, you still have your children. I mean, could you imagine not having that time with them and
No.
thinking that somebody else is trying to do that?
No, I can't even. I can't even give away like animals or something. I mean, it's yeah, no, I can't. I can't imagine it. And I know there was some groups on Facebook that were, I forget what they were called, but I ran into them. I don't know when, a few years ago. They were like totally anti-adoption. Of any have you seen those groups? Because they say
Yeah.
it's so detrimental
them
and
are-
it's not natural and it's
Yeah.
and but then they I mean, it's one extreme and the other, right? They're extreme, but I just went to look at it because I just said, well, let me just look at this, and I did, and they were just saying, it's how, like, basically, how can someone do that is what they said, and that it's not right for the kids because the kids have problems, issues, thinking all the time, where's my parents? But yeah, I mean, also, what if the parent can't raise them, or they're drug addicted, like the ones, I mean, so I don't understand.
Exactly.
It was
And
too
I-
extreme. But yeah, I don't know. It was just one group that I saw at one time. Like I said, a few years ago, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was totally to the other extreme.
Right, and that's what a lot of people, just in the general public here, don't understand is it's kind of a really hot topic. Let me give you just a stupid example of that. Is here in Missouri, we're right next to Kansas, right over the line is like Lawrence, Kansas, okay? Our sports teams, our college sports teams are always at each other, the Jayhawks versus Missouri, okay? Well, the Jayhawks got their name from way back, post-Civil War, and the reason why I'm saying this is because even to this day, there is still like some kind of unsettled rivalry that goes beyond college basketball between Missouri and Kansas. I mean, I have Facebook groups that are historical, local historical groups, and they get into it like that too. It's still heated debate, even though they think the Civil War is still going on or something. Kansas versus Missouri, and this is what's going on in the adoption communities. And of course, there's always room for what I call zealots, kind of like
Yeah,
what you
right,
were
I
just
know,
describing,
Manager, right?
people
He
who
was
just,
in so much pain.
up on a bandwagon.
He kept
kind of
saying
like
he was
the
in so
vegans
much
that say
pain,
you
and
shouldn't
that
even
was
own a dog
because
if you eat hamburger.
things were so far gone.
Extreme. There's always not necessarily room for it, but people always leave a little way in that are like that. And so that's what I'm saying. The only group that I step back to Susan here. The only group that I still stick with is one that has what they call
I miss
search
him.
angels. And these are
He was
volunteer
always funny
people
and always
that, whether they be,
never
have
wavered.
investigating backgrounds professionally or just hobby, genealogists or whatever, they do try to help people in certain areas that they might specialize in 4 different states, one area. Because all of the adoption laws in every state are completely different. Some are stricter than others. I happen to be in Missouri, which is one of the strictest ones for ever unsealing those records. And, it's like birth mothers and birth fathers seem to have all the rights. A lot of people that are searching, like on adoption forums, to me, they're crazy. And honestly, Carolyn, I give the opposing views so many times. I've been thrown out of these groups before for speaking my opinion. Here it is. I believe that an adult adoptee has their final and maybe only right to make first contact, if they choose to, with anybody that is biologically related to them. Some of these people oppose me so bad on that because they're like, well, I would love if my biological mother or whatever would just send me a message on Facebook. Hey, what's up? I'm like, what? You're kidding me, right? This was a legal issue that happened. To me, these are complete strangers, and people, there's like 70-year-old ladies in these groups, and they'll say, Oh, I still think about my natural mother every single night. You know, I never knew who she was, and I'm just like motherless. Well, that is something that a lot of us do feel, even though we get grown, all of us do. You know, I don't know if you had a good relationship with your mother and father, but you develop a different kind of adult relationship, or supposed to, with your parents. And, you know, it kind of evolves over time, just like if you're married, the first 5 years
No.
are different than the 18th year and so forth. 18th.
No, wait a second. You said, Carolyn, did you know I spent time with him and his soulmate cat? I was with him the night he found his cat with my friend. What? What do you mean, manager? You knew him outside of YouTube before this channel? Oh, you're going to have to tell us that story. I don't understand.
Is when you get divorced, by the way. But the joke, if you're past 18, you got this made. Okay. So, Carolyn, are you still on?
Oh, wait, I think I remember something. Hold on. He mentioned in chat one night about it. He was in a Carl's Jr. parking lot across from apartments. I'll tell you in Slack, it's a crazy story. I think I remember something about you saying that, but yeah, you're going to have to tell me again.
I just stay on mute because there's less of an echo when I'm on
That is so crazy. You had no idea, and then you met each other here? Oh, my gosh.
mute when you talk.
Okay, another thing, too, is that, am I too loud? I can turn my mic volume down. I got a different set here.
Is he too loud for people, or nobody said anything yet? I know.
Nobody's complaining yet?
Not
All
yet.
right.
No, he's fine, Baby Doe said.
Oh, okay, cool.
And somebody said
I
Suzanne
have to
getting
find
the
that
laptop
story.
Dang it, yeah. When I spoke to her a few minutes ago, she told me, of course I lose my laptop. And then I said, are you serious? You like physically lost it? And she's like, no, it's bound to be here somewhere. So I'm hoping she gets to it.
Okay. Did Jeff do a DNA search?
No, I have not. I have the kit that I can use and mail off my results
You
when I
didn't
get
do
to
that
it.
yet?
Well, I haven't done it yet. It's with the 23andMe, I believe, ancestry kit.
Right. And you didn't do it.
I haven't. I mean, I kind of like somebody to support me in that. So, I mean, just like, hey, did you get your results back? Because when I get my results back, I don't want to have anybody to tell. It's going to freak me out probably either way.
You can come here and tell us.
Hey, that'd be cool. Yeah, because I know you end up getting a bunch of numbers and stuff. And what does this mean? I've seen a lot of people post their results and don't know what to do with them. Yeah, they say that you can get like cousins and stuff
My
like that.
daughter
and
did
that's how
it.
you can
She did it, yeah.
What'd she do it for? Just for the
Just for the
ethnicity
heck of
or
it.
what?
Just because all the
Oh.
friends were doing it. And no, yeah, just for the heck of it, I think. Make sure that we...
You know, you can do it on your dogs now too to find out exactly what all
Yeah,
nicks
I
they've
know,
got in them.
I saw that. Is that one that you can also do from home though, or do you have to go to the vet?
I'm not sure. I really don't know. But did you know that Barbara Streisand had her dog or her cat cloned?
She had it cloned. I know.
Yeah. And I looked into that before. Besides costing about $100,000 to start to have your pet done, the animal doesn't necessarily look like your pet, okay? For instance, if you have a white cat or a calico cat, I'm using cats because their colors are so various. If you have, say you have a white cat that passes on and you want that thing cloned, well, there's something about a gene that makes the white, animals white, colorless, and
Right.
it'll mess up. You might end up with a tabby cat, but yet they'll say that it's a clone of that one. Go
Mentioned
figure.
it in chat one
So
night.
really, a clone is
Yeah,
not
he
a
did.
clone.
We talked about
As far as physical
Crazy.
But it's
appearance. I mean,
also
the genetics
could have a
can
lot
still
of
be
health problems too, because that little sheep, or what was that lamb
Dolly.
that was cloned?
Dolly.
Dolly, yeah. And it's not. I mean, it's not. I wrote a blog article when Barbara Streisand did that. She's
I
cloned
forgot
like
about
three-
that. I wrote a
think
blog
she cloned
article about
3
it.
of
Can you
them or
believe that?
something. I'm not joking. I wrote an article about it a
Yeah.
few years ago.
I forget her if it's so much now.
That
If
is
like she
messed up. I
lost
know
her
they
dog
cloned.
due to an illness, isn't she afraid that she's going to lose it to that same illness? Dolly's not good. Yeah, Dolly wasn't good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of
That's what I think. It would freak me out. I mean, I know some of them that have had their pets cloned. They'll say, "Oh, it came in and it went to the same toy or something. You know, did something exactly like the other." Well, to me, that would be more of a learned trait. You know, just I don't know about it. I could not look unless it looked exactly like my cat or dog. I wouldn't fall for it. I'm just saying.
But especially,
I don't know if that makes
Barbara
sense.
had a purebred, right? So I don't want to. I mean, she could get a dog that looks very similar to the one that she had, and you know, but isn't it kind of even just making light of her other dog's life? Like, I'm just going to clone you. You know, I don't know.
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have two Maltese,
I mean,
and when I got the other Maltese, it almost like sometimes I forget it's not the same dog. I'm not kidding, because they look so much alike, and we got them right after one another. I mean, right after one another. So, and then sometimes I feel bad about like because they're so similar, but they're two different dogs, right? But they're so similar, and they look exactly alike. Like sometimes when I'm looking at pictures, I make a mistake, and I said it's the one dog, and it's not. So, isn't that good enough for her that she could went out and got another purebred, but at least let it be its own individual dog? I don't know.
Yeah, to me that would be more honoring to the animal, you know, to get one. Oh, that reminds me of that old dog when it was a pup, you know?
Yeah.
More honoring. Because truthfully, it might be closer related to another purebred than this cloning crap.
Yeah, and then if
In
you have the
reality-
cloning and the dog gets sick and it's suffering, and then you go through a loss at 2 years old, who are you going to blame then, you know?
Let me
You're
tell you,
suffering
I
and the
never
dog's
would have paid the money. I
What?
never would have had the money to pay for $100,000 to replace my cat Zoe. But she had the most unique fur pattern, and so that's when I really started looking into it. Just, is it possible? Could I ever remake her? You know, I'm never going to find another cat that's marked just like that. And when I read that, they know it's not necessarily going to look like the animal. I'm like, well, for $100,000, it better be a dead ringer, you know.
Let me see what Michaela's
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on there. But yeah, pets and people, back to the topic here, they seem to be interchangeable in a lot of ways because when I was growing up, I don't think we could say, oh, I adopted a dog. I think it's, oh, we got a dog. We bought a dog, we were given a dog, we got a dog. You know, adopt, don't shop, you know. And because I want to look up a bunch of stuff on adoption, I'm researching. You put the word adopt in Google, you're going to get a whole bunch of pet stuff. It's just little things like that kind of irk me, I guess. Like, geez, how, I don't know. I just feel like we were, well, me as an adoptee, just kind of just, I don't know, bred and shorthanded or something. No matter, every situation is different. I totally agree with what you were saying. You know, what if, all the what ifs. What if the mother couldn't raise? What if the, but I think most adoptive mothers, or most birth mothers that choose to adopt their kid out, I think, I mean, I can't speak on this because I've never been through it, but this is what I think. I think they probably want something better or greater for their kids than what they think they can do at the time. Now, whether they're influenced heavily by their parents, by the boyfriend, by anybody, their friends, anyone, I think that in their head they must have to tell themselves, well, my kid's better off. That would be my guess, even though in reality it's not always true. And I wish Suzanne would get up here because she knows all this stuff about, you know, how narcissism runs in a lot of adopters and so forth. And it is so strikingly true. It's so true. But the main question I would ask everybody is, how would you feel if you still had to relate your story when you're 30, 40, 50 years old to tell people? Because I've been stopped by the police before. I think I told you that. I don't know if I mentioned it in the chat before. Been stopped by the police before Long story short, my social security numbers got messed up. They said I didn't know my identity. I came up as a guy that had done something and was wanted somewhere. And I'm like, no, man, it's not like that. Look, I was adopted. This is the mess I'm having. And I have to, oh, here we go again. This is just, for a quick traffic stop. I had to tell him that I'm adopted. I go to the doctors. I have to tell them that I'm adopted. Because, they went, hey, does grandma have cancer? I have no idea. What about that? No, adopted. All right, we'll check that off the list. You're still faced with the day you were born in all these situations. And it really sucks. Like I can't get my social security card replaced. I think I did mention this before. Because where I am in this state, as long as at least one of my adoptive parents is still on the face of the earth, they have to come to the office and vouch for me and do the notarized statement and vouch for me. I was like, well, can't my son, he's grown, my son can vouch for who I am. And that's my social security number. No, it's gotta be, well, all right, it's just stupid. Just stupid things that you take for granted. If I took my $15 up, to try to get a copy of my birth certificate's gonna come back and be the wrong one and all messed up, and I might not even get it back. It's just crazy. Where most people stand in line, the certificates, the original birth certificates here in Missouri are not even located at the office. They physically have to drive somewhere to go retrieve them. I don't know if they keep them in a grain silo out in the middle of a field. I have no idea.
Okay, so yes, Connie, we are going to talk about that case. And I think I just emailed underage Valerie. I hope that was you. Why does the... Hi.
Aloha, this is Valerie. I'm calling from Hawaii, or
Hi.
underage birth mother.
Hi, how are you?
Good,
Hi,
how
Valerie.
are you? Thank you for helping me tune in.
So what is do you want to tell your story?
Well, I have a 13-year-old son who has been adopted out, and it's been an absolute nightmare for me. I mean, this has been the most traumatic experience I have ever dealt with in my life. To experience pregnancy counseling and be told that I am being helped, and then, it's just been like shock after trauma as I am older now and can reflect about all the things that happened that took place regarding my civil rights being violated and being exploited for my reproductive system, and told that I was being helped and that I was going to be a part of my child's life, and that's not what has happened. And things just have gotten so out of hand that I started to research the agency that took my child and realized that this was a repeated pattern for them. And they have adoption fraud lawsuits, both domestic and international. And I just keep coming across more and more adoption survivors with the same stories regarding what a coerced adoption is and what an illicit adoption is and what an illegal adoption is, and realizing that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that has gone from supposedly helping children find homes to creating, to manufacturing orphans so they can be sold into houses that most of the time are not able to reproduce themselves, and creating this demand which puts so much pressure on women that are in vulnerable situations, and we end up being taken advantage of instead of being supported with keeping our family intact. So I have filed fraud complaints towards Bethany Christian Services, the largest adoption agency.
Was it Bethany Christian Services? Yeah, I've heard problems with them.
Oh, they are so bad. I mean, there's even books written about their corruption and how unethical they are. I mean, it's like they counseled me and didn't even let me know that my child's birth name was going to be changed, that his birth certificate was going to be altered. They did not tell me that I wasn't going to know where he was going to be. I wasn't going to have access to his phone number or contact information. So, I mean, just being, they took advantage because I was 17 years old, and here I am. And they say that they come with God to help me. And I never been pregnant before. I don't know what to expect for pregnancy counseling. Like, I'm supposed to be trusting of this social worker that says that they come with God to help me. And then I just get traumatized. And it has taken me several years to realize, like, what happened? Like, why am I alienated from my child? Why am I still crying every day about my child? Why can I not spend time with my child? Why am I still arguing with the agency and the adopters about spending time with my child when I was told I was going to have an open adoption? And the way that they counsel women is they don't tell us our rights. They don't tell us that open adoptions are not legally enforceable.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So you were 17. This happened in Hawaii?
No, this happened in California. I now live in Hawaii, and Hawaii is a very progressive state when it comes to adoption laws. And this is why I have learned a lot, also because I am angry to find out that my child, because he was born in California, he does not have access to his original birth certificate. So it puts many mothers like me in situations where we're counseled and led to believe that we're going to have this beautiful open adoption experience, and then come to find out that they're not legally enforceable. Many times mothers are shut out of these quote unquote open adoption, and then our children don't have access to their original birth certificates. So if they want to go find us, good luck finding us, because the laws are against our favor.
So I just want to ask you some questions because the chat's asking too. Your child is 13, you said, no?
Yes, he's 13.
Okay, and it's a boy.
Yes, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have had a handful of hours of physical contact throughout the years, which is, it's been extremely abusive situation because I am dealing with narcissistic adopters that have just literally gaslighted me and exploited me and participating in this illegal adoption. And my contract is completely illegal. I've got it copy of it, prove that I had stated I didn't want a Christian adoption, and what they.
I think we lost you.
Still.
You're breaking up.
Okay, let me move. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what they did is they're expert predators, the way they get their adoptions. They kept me in complete shock during my pregnancy and didn't give me the correct information. All the things I should have had access to and given proper information regarding all the resources available, they purposely withheld from me to put me in a situation where I thought that the only option for me to give resources to my child was this quote unquote open adoption.
Okay,
and then they have me
just ask you a quick question, okay? Because I just want to sum this up because people are coming in. So you were 17, you were in California. This was 13 years ago. How far into the pregnancy did you make contact with Bethany Christian?
Third trimester. It's called a fast track adoption. So they literally swooped in my 6 months. 6 months into my pregnancy, and then while I'm in the hospital in labor, and she didn't even prepare me for labor. They didn't tell me what to expect for labor. Like, anything they should have mentioned during pregnancy counseling that really was for pregnancy counseling, they didn't give me. So they pretend they're giving you pregnancy counseling, but what they really are doing is relinquishment counseling disguised as pregnancy counseling. And then I'm intoxicated out of my mind because I was administered 2 epidural shots and other medication during my labor and after my labor, and they come and swoop in and have me sign papers that I had never gone over before. So as I'm not coherent, they're reading 14 different pages, or no, I think it might have been like maybe like 10 or 14 different pages. And I'm too busy crying and shaking to even understand what they're reading. And what they had me sign wasn't even what they went over during pregnancy counseling.
Did you have any parents or guardians there to help you with these contracts and things?
No. See, so this is what they do. Bethany Christian Services advertises that they specialize in helping vulnerable families. So they target women like me, people like me that come from disturbed backgrounds. Like I had already left the house. You know, I was dealing with a sexual assault legal proceeding against my own mother at the time. Luckily, the father of my child, I was living with him, and he was very young too. And, you know, his mother didn't want to have the adoption, but Bethany Christian Services, they're predators. And if anybody wants to check out my YouTube video, I'm literally combing through all of my paperwork and reliving my whole experience to highlight the way they go about counseling women into pregnancy and how they isolate us to target us and lead us into these abusive adoption contracts, pretending that they're here to help us. And it turns out that they're not. Like, you know, they want to make $20,000 from separating us from our child. I had no idea that amount of money, you know, and I'm not even sure exactly how much money was exchanged, but I had no idea that tens of thousands of dollars were being exchanged for my child being adopted out. And, you know, it's very abusive to use the word God and say that this is God's plan. It's God's plan for you to be separated from your child, to be alienated from your child. And this is what help looks like.
Okay.
So instead of providing me like counseling to recover from the trauma I had survived from my own parental guardians, they took advantage of that and they exploited me.
I have a question for Val.
Can I just, you have a
what
question?
was that?
Oh, I wanted to ask Val a question. Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, I just have I have a question now. When I see these, like I know a couple of people that have adopted, it seems like everything in the United States has moved to open adoption, where the adoptive parents and the birth parents stay in contact, either if it's one letter a year with pictures or whatever. And there's also more that I see where they actually have sites where the birth mothers are picking the adoptive
Very misleading.
couple. It's very misleading?
Very misleading. Very propaganda.
Yeah, I think it is very misleading like that, because I've actually known somebody, a friend of mine, that had a baby when she was 18 and she gave it up, or gave her daughter up, and believed it was an open adoption. I think there's all kinds of loopholes and stipulations, just like Valerie's talking about, that it's not even legally enforceable.
No, it's not. So it's so unethical how they market.
Okay, and then I have a question. So take us back a little bit. So you met with them during your 6 month. Did you get to look at any prospective parents or pick any, or they were going to pick for you?
No, it's like it's the illusion of choice, where they're like, you get to pick your parents or you get to pick the adopters, but it's an illusion of choice, because no matter what, you're picking a quote unquote adoption, an open adoption that's not legally enforceable. And most of the time, and I have several women from the same agency that have my same story, that we're told it's going to be an open adoption, and then find out that these people really don't care about us. They don't care if we talk to our children, and if we don't go follow along with all the things that they want from us, you know, they just close us out. Or, you know, I feel like emotionally terrorized throughout this whole open adoption experience, because they've been seeing my child over my head. Like, it's the most abusive relationship I have ever experienced in my life, is this fraudulent open adoption that I'm currently stuck in, that I'm trying to get resolved. I've filed reports all over the place. I've just filed reports with the Attorney General of California. I have written letters to the Secretary of State for California. I just requested my medical records so I can have more documentation proving that I was not coherent and I was intoxicated. And so the way they went about getting this adoption was completely illegal. They did so many legal things to have me sign these papers and claim that it was legal when it's not.
Okay.
And
so,
think that they're going to get away with it. And I'm trying to do everything to hold them accountable for their fraud. And they have repeated accounts of fraud. They already have lawsuits.
okay. So let me just ask you, I know I feel your pain and the chat feels your pain and we're very sorry, but I'm just trying to get some details. When a lot of people see open adoptions, and some people have, family members, they've had open adoptions that have been very open. They go to the hospital, they're there with the birth mother when she delivers. The birth mother gets to decide whether, how long she wants to hold the baby, whether they can have the baby in another room and all of that stuff, right? So
yeah, we don't really, my experience is I didn't really get to decide. Like decisions were made for me. Like so many things are happening against my will, like my child's name being changed. I wasn't even informed or made aware that could even happen. And then all of a sudden, shock. Oh, your baby has a new name. And it's like, what? And then,
How did you find out, Valerie?
Oh, they told me right after birth. Like they just let me know we picked out his new name. And it's like paralyzing for me because I'm in the hospital. I just gave birth. I'm kind of just in shock because I'm supposed to be with people that are supposed to be looking out for me and helping me. And they're telling me that abuse is help. And this is how I feel. Like I've been abused by the adoption industry. And they're telling me this is what help looks like. And my personal experience is that this is not help. This is abuse.
okay. Did you ever, were you ever in contact with the birth parents?
Oh, you mean the adopted?
The adopted parents. Yeah, I'm sorry. The adopted parents.
I mean, they're fully aware of the situation right now regarding me filing fraud complaints.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've been, it's been 13 years and I've been like hoping for it to get better, for the beautiful adoption that I was promised. I've been waiting for it and then realizing that it's been 13 years, it's not going to change. And so I have to take legal action now to resolve what has taken place because, dealing with narcissists, like just coming into reality with the extent of the situation and realizing like these people never cared about me. These people were never really here to help me. Like after my birth, I was in and out of the hospital for trauma. They never offered me any real therapy. When I asked for more contact, they just gaslight me. They make excuses, tell me it's not important for me to see my child. And their website says that adoptions empower everyone in the process and that they offer post-lifetime support. And this is not what has occurred. And I have been calling them out on all of this and writing it down. I mean, I have so many emails to the regional director of Bethany Christian Services and to the adopters, explaining to them, you need to be held accountable for all the lies that you have told me because you promised me that I was going to have an open adoption, and it's been a nightmare for me. I have PTSD. I go to my clinical therapist every week because it's been so hard to cope with not just being separated from your child, but then being in an abusive relationship with the adopters. And it's been absolute abuse not to have any support from them and not to understand how important it is for me to stay in contact with my child. I feel like because of their infertility issues, I'm being attacked. Like they haven't resolved their infertility and they're taking it out on me. And also because it was wrong from the beginning. What they did was wrong. They exploited me when I needed help. Instead of helping me, they took advantage of me. So of course, it's going to be an abusive adoption because it was abuse from the beginning.
Okay.
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah.
Please? I just got on chat right now, and I see Layla Faye says that she used to be serving on the board for the Bethany Christian Services in Nebraska, and hadn't heard this before. And other people say, I hate this happening, but I'm not able to read everything in chat now. But man, it looks like just the topic of adoption is everybody is so strong on this. It just seems like, I don't know if there's fights going on down here in the chat or what, but everybody is just amped up on the whole issue, it seems like. And it is. It's something that just, I don't know, it affects people, whether they've been touched by adoption directly or not, I guess. It's kind of a hot issue.
Right.
And
so
there's really no...
The woman that was on the board of the Bethany Christian Services said she wanted to know how she's worked on the board. She's never heard stories like this. She doesn't work there now. But how were they a predator? Did they approach you or did you approach them?
Well, I've had their information contact through pregnancy references and if you look at their web marketing, they say that they offer not just adoption services, but they offer pregnancy counseling and that they offer, and that family preservation is their most important thing. And I've called them out several times on this, that they're out there asking for donations, asking the public for money, that they need help with money to help keep families together. But when I asked for help to keep my family together and provide me resources, they told me they didn't have, the only resources available for me were this open adoption. So
also, Susan said that she was on a deadline that you didn't pick up. Did you not hear her ring in?
No, it doesn't do that. You just like how you call in. You call into Zoom and then you enter the meeting number and you go in. I don't pick up any number.
Okay.
Well, it's been my experience. Bethany Christian Services is very aware of all their complaints. And I just recently found a video from Australia, and they did a public apology to all the people that experienced forced adoptions and acknowledged the crisis that took place and the severity of family separation and how unethical and illegal the practices that were being done were. And I feel like, Bethany Christian Services needs to take a look at that video and step up to the plate and practice what they preach, because they're on social media pretending that they're with the hand of God and that they praise Jesus Christ and they're helping families. But there's a crowd of us that are protesting every day regarding their adoption fraud and their abuse for profits, because it's profitable for them to separate families instead of using those donations they claim are to help families stay together.
Now,
We're not being helped.
Did they give
Yes.
you financial support during your pregnancy?
No. So this is the way they're such predators. They analyze each situation and they get so much information from the mother to see what's the best way to get her to walk through this adoption door. And so for me, the best way to get me to walk through their adoption door was to keep me in crisis. And that's exactly what they did. They kept me in crisis. They left me in the dark. Didn't inform me of what to expect for labor, what labor was going to look like, that there was a government programs for me, or that I had access to temporary placement for my child. Everything they should have given me that would have helped me keep my family intact and avoid this trauma that I experience every day. And every day is trauma. I cry every day. I can't tell you how much pain I'm in living this adoption reality with them. And they didn't do that. And they purposely, this is what they have been sued about before, intentional misrepresentation and intentional withholding of information. So this is their repeated pattern of how they go about getting unethical adoptions. And this is why they're making millions. Then there's, it's quantity over quality with them.
Did the birth parent, the adoptive parents, did they come to the hospital?
Yes, they did. They came, and honestly, I wish they hadn't. I wish I never had an adoption, to be honest. I wish that I would have really been helped. And, they haven't been kind to me at all, and they know this. And I've gone. This is why I've gone public too. I've gone public because it's been 13 years, and I know a lot of mothers that are trapped in abusive open adoptions, but they're too scared to speak out for multiple reasons, because visiting their child is held over their necks, because open adoptions are not legally enforceable. So they're put in this situation where, they're putting up with being abused just for the chance to possibly see their child for an hour once a year and get some photos. And the marketing is just, it's so dishonest. It's not protecting families. It's not an integrity. If they were really honest about the vulnerability that as biological families, we're put into signing an adoption contract, it's really scary, because you are at the mercy of these strangers that claim they're here to help your family by an adoption contract. And, instead what I have received is nonstop abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, and spiritual abuse, and even physical, because not being able to hug my child, not being able to send my child gifts. I mean, he has gifts that are being stolen from him, depriving him from seeing his grandmother. We've been asking for 13 years. I keep fighting with them about, letting him stay in contact with his ancestry. That was the whole point of me having an open adoption, was that I was going to be included in my child's life, and he was going to have more access to resources. But this is not the reality of what has fruited. It's just been trauma, not just for me, but for his biological father and his biological father's family. And they're a very close-knit group. So to them, it's been really traumatic to be alienated like this when we didn't do anything wrong. Like, we were just trying to make the best decision to make sure that my child was going to have a good childhood. But being lied to and being kept away from his biological family, that's not helpful. It's just trauma, and it's really unnecessary, and it really just hurts really bad. And it just, so I had to figure out, why is this happening? And then as I dug in deep and did my research, I realized, well, this agency is corrupt. They have a history of adoption fraud lawsuits. They have current adoption fraud lawsuits in 2 different states. My adoption is illegal, and they do a lot of censorship. It's like they abuse families, and then they censor the families from speaking out. And I've experienced this multiple times, being blocked from several of their platforms, leaving reviews regarding how dishonest and how snaky they are to market, because they're doing fraudulent marketing, pretending that they're helping us. Then why haven't I been helped? If this is what they say on their website, and this is what they say on their live stream, and in all those little lectures that they're going around the world claiming that, they help our families stay together, like, why am I still fighting about contact with my child? And why was I forced into an adoption that I said that I didn't want?
Okay.
I have paperwork.
When did you, can I ask you something? You had a time period, right, to change your mind? What is it, 48? What was it? And isn't there before you have to relinquish your rights?
You know, I don't know that answer, but I have paperwork for before my adoption, pre-birth paperwork that states I did not want an adoption.
You said
And-
you didn't want to adopt your baby out?
I said I didn't want a Christian adoption. I have this on paperwork. I go over it in some of my YouTube videos that I have, Underage Birth Mother on YouTube.
Okay.
And I go through all the paperwork in order to show how this exactly took place. Like, I'm being counseled and I say I don't want a Christian adoption. How come I ended up with a Christian adoption?
But when
I wrote
because a lot of people are asking. Okay, so Bethany Christian, you knew the name of the agency, right? Bethany Christian.
Yes, Bethany Christian Services.
Right. So some might say, well, then why deal with them if you didn't want a Christian adoption? Why not just not deal with them and go somewhere else?
It was pregnancy counseling, and it was a fast track adoption. And mind you that I'm 17 and
Right.
I'm not with my mother and my father, and they're not looking out for me. And Bethany Christian Services was fully aware of my vulnerability.
Okay,
And
so
instead,
when the
as professionals,
So when the
instead
baby's
as
born,
yes.
right?
Okay,
when
go ahead.
When the baby's born and you have the baby in the hospital, at that point,
Oh,
did you want to give the baby up for adoption?
No, I was crying. I was hysterical. And they had me sign papers that we didn't go over, including a religious contract for a Christian adoption that I didn't say. You know, it was like my pre-adoption paperwork is the opposite of what I signed.
Okay, but at some
Because
point they
of
came
the-
to take the infant from you, your son. They came to take him from you, right?
Yes.
And at that time, you knew he was being given to the the adoptive parents.
Yes, but it was all coerced. The method that they go about was unethical. They didn't give me the right information.
But-
When I asked that I wanted to stay with my child, she didn't give me the information she should have given me regarding what resources were available for me to stay with my child.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, then at the time, did the adoptive parents come in the room with you and meet you?
Yes.
They did. And were they in
Yes.
contact with you at the end of your pregnancy, like calling you once a week or something?
No, it was Bethany Christian Services is I can definitely see that they take advantage of adoptive parents and they take advantage of birth families, and they exploit both of us, because I didn't have direct communication with the adopters. In fact, I didn't have the adopters' phone numbers until my son was 11 years old. Imagine, being into an open adoption, 11 years into it, and you're still fighting about having your child's phone number.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And so, because I'm just trying to understand this. So they didn't call you. The first time you met the adoptive parents was at the hospital.
No, I had met them once before the hospital, and I didn't invite them to the hospital. They showed up with Bethany Christian Services. So it was a complete shock for me, because like I said, I wasn't prepared for labor. I wasn't prepared for what steps were going to take place, like what was going to happen. Like, I was definitely kept in a shock mode, and it's terrible. Like, how can you do this to anybody and claim this is how you help people, by taking advantage of them and lying to them and withholding information from them and purposely telling them things that aren't true. Like, I was going to have a beautiful adoption, and that this is what God wants. God wants me to have an adoption. I mean, to use the name of Jesus Christ to get me to do things like this and tell me this is the right thing to do, that Jesus wants this adoption, and that's just terrible, instead of protecting my family and keeping us together and, now it's really just a horrible. And then I keep finding more mothers with my same story and realize that there's so many of us that feel this way and live with this every day. And sometimes we're referenced as the untold history of women's rights in regards to we aren't protected. And I was in a temporary crisis, and they should have just helped me. I asked.
Now, what was your said your boyfriend, who's the biological father, his mother wanted to keep the baby?
Yes, she was already, getting ready to, move houses so she could help me. But she was very much, I was isolated during pregnancy counseling. It's not like it was a family event. I was kept isolated, and they knew that I was a trauma survivor. I mean, I had a sexual assault, legal proceeding against my own biological mother and her husband, and they knew this. They knew the severity of they knew all the details of my life, because they asked, and they asked questions like, if you decide to have an adoption, is the biological father going to get in the way or be against it?
So did he have to sign papers? Did the biological father have to sign?
No, not really. Most of the no, he didn't have to sign paperwork. It was just, he definitely was just belittled and minimized and kept to the side and pretty much told he didn't have a say. The only person that had a say was me. So the only person they needed to manipulate was me. And that's what happened. I was manipulated by Bethany Christian Services, and what they have done is illegal. And I currently am living an illegal adoption that I'm trying to resolve and hold them accountable for their fraud and for their abuse of power.
Okay.
It's not okay to
I just want to say one thing,
beings.
just one thing. Okay, there was a case which was in Florida, I believe, right? And the woman was older. She was almost 40 years old and had twins, okay? And she went home from the hospital with them, and something happened, and she was probably going through postpartum depression or whatever it was, and she went to a lawyer's office in Florida, and this was a major case, and she relinquished her kids for adoption, right? And she signed them over, and she had whatever it was, 24, 48 hours to change her mind. Well, right after the time period elapsed, she changed her mind. These children were adopted out to a family in Canada. Twins. She went back and said she wasn't in her right mind. She had no support. She was a single mom. She couldn't get those kids back. She couldn't get them back. And it was a major case. And I mean, it was all over. It was all over. And it was just a period of hours. And
yeah, I mean, I understand, because it's just, I call it the adoption beast. And, that's what it is. I mean, why wouldn't society want to help families stay together? There's just such a backlash in helping preserve families. Even if it's an adoption, you see this in divorce. Family alienation is a form of abuse. So why is it any different in quote unquote open adoptions? Why do birth mothers or birth families have to be alienated, and we're not protected by law? And we were counseled without being informed of our rights, or in regards to the reality of you might not see your child again, and that's the truth, is with an adoption, you might not see your child again. Why don't they tell us the valuable information that we should have access to? Because they would lose an adoption sale. If they were really honest about what adoption is when they counseled women, most of us would run out the door. I was told I was going to remain a part of my child's life, and that they were helping me and they come with God. And that's not what has happened. I'm traumatized. I'm writing letters to the Secretary of State.
How soon after you left the hospital, or before you left the hospital, did you contest this adoption?
You mean contest it?
Well, yeah, you said, hey, I want my baby back.
Oh, no, honestly, this is recent, me contesting it. Like, I have been silent for 13 years about, the situation because, first of all, I was psychologically abused at the age of 17. I've been in this psychological hold with them, being told that this is help from God, that they come with the Lord to help me, and this is what help looks like, and that I didn't have, I didn't know, the last thing you want to do is to think that you're going to have a bad adoption experience. Like, that's the last thing I wanted to realize, is that these people don't care about me, and this is adoption fraud. Like, I don't want to live this. Like, this is not the reality I want to be in. Like, I wanted the beautiful adoption that I was told I was going to have. But after 13 years, you can only tolerate so much abuse. And by God, by the universe, I moved to Hawaii and started seeing the difference between adoption laws in Hawaii and adoption laws in California, and realized how corrupted adoption laws are throughout the United States, and that things aren't fair. And it just so happened that my housemate also was dealing with an illegal adoption. And meeting her, I realized all the corruption in the adoption industry. And then I started to put the pieces together and realized that, hey, I do have rights. What they did was wrong, and I shouldn't tolerate this anymore.
Okay.
I was told I was going to be a part of my child's life. Why am I not a part of my child's life?
Okay, can I ask you a question? What is are you trying to get your son back into your custody, or do you just want more visitation?
I want to
more
make sure
communication?
that I stay in communication with my child in a healthy way. And
So you don't
what
want to
has
take
been
the child away from his parents now, his adoptive parents?
Well, it's a reality check. I don't think that would even be
Right.
the way that I see how the adoption industry, I don't think that is I don't think that's likely, to be
Right.
honest. And I wish that I could say yes. But and so this is not even what I think the goal. I don't even think this is going to happen. I want accountability first and foremost. Is I want them to be held accountable for not just my illegal adoption, but all the other people that I have found through Bethany Christian Services that are experiencing the same thing, including the adoption fraud lawsuit that they currently have going on in Tennessee that I am fully aware of. And because they're trying to force 2 adoptions right now in the United States. Why are they forcing families to be separated against their will? If a family says we don't want to be separated and we don't want an adoption, why did they insist on not respecting families and still forcing them to experience an adoption that's going to turn out like mine, where we were told it's an open adoption and just get shut out? So, and then also, so my child realizes that what happened is not okay, and that I have done everything in my power to stay part of his life, and that it's not okay for me to be abused, and it's not okay for him not to have his ancestry respected, and it's not okay to have California deny him from his original birth certificate. So a lot of stuff is not okay. And, so my main goal is to bring this to light, to bring the corruption to light, and to have, society realize that adoption rights matter, because there's even adoptees that don't have citizenship right now because of the botched international adoptions that have taken place. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed with adoptees. And there's so much suffering, people get suicidal over being separated because of adoptions, and there's not protection for adoptees to have their ancestry protected, and there's no protection for birth families to have their preservation of staying in communication with their beloved children. I mean, if there was no abuse going on, why are we being forced to be isolated from another? from one another. Like, that to me makes no sense. If it's supposed to be in the best interest of the child, why are they being alienated from their biological family if we weren't abusive? If all we've ever wanted to do is to remain a part of his life and share his ancestry and you know, and just, you know, have
Okay.
extended family.
So people are asking, after you gave birth, did you ever see your son again?
I've seen him for a total of about 14 hours in the last 13 years.
And when was when was the last time?
About a year ago.
And he's aware you're his birth mother?
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, the conditions of seeing him, which have been against my will too, are very controlled. So it's a very controlled situation because it's emotional blackmail to be like, you have to stick to this narrative and you have to put a fake smile on if you want to see your child for an hour once a year.
Right, but just hear me out for a minute, okay? Because I'm not an adoptive parent. I'm a parent, but I'm trying just to picture. And you said yourself that Bethany Christian is not only abusive to the birth parents, but also to the adoptive parents, deceptive, right?
Yes.
So now that you've got these parents, they have this child that they got from you.
Yes.
And now, I don't know how it is, but yeah, I mean, you'd have to understand that they just want what's in the best interest of the child, of your son, of their son, right? And so,
yes.
If all of a sudden someone comes in and I mean, I have young children, I have older children, but like I have a young son, Luke. If all of a sudden someone came into his life and they said we're going to meet at a park, and then this woman might be very upset and she might, that would be traumatizing. So
yes,
I think
but
to have those
it hasn't been all of a sudden. I mean, I've had a relationship with them for the last 13 years, and they haven't been kind to me at all. If anything, they've just tried to completely isolate me from my child's life, and they've been abusive to me. And they're narcissists.
In what way have they been abusive to you?
Not supporting me and maintaining a relationship with my child. They have no valid reason. I've been patient for 13 years before going out public and before filing the reports for adoption fraud, because I was hoping to have this beautiful relationship and this beautiful open adoption that has never taken place. How are you gonna have an open adoption and not give me your phone number for 11 years, and I keep giving you mine, so how is this an open adoption if I can't even have your phone number and I keep asking for it, and I was not even informed that you weren't going to give me your phone number? I mean, and I'm waiting 11 years and I'm arguing for 11 years about why can't I have phone calls? Why can't I have phone calls? Why can't I have phone calls? 11 years of this nightmare. And this is not a healthy relationship. This is not a healthy open adoption dynamic. Like, this is absolute abuse. Like, this is abuse. Like, normal relationships are not like this. If you have a relationship with anybody else, work or friendship or, transactions, it has to be mutual. Like, how can you not give me your phone number and you taking my child?
But see, that's why
and you don't
I
want
thought
to give
normally
me your
they
phone
have
number?
a contract with like how many visits, how many pictures, like what. Even if you watch those adoption stories on TV,
there's no contract. There was no contract saying, I didn't sign no contract that said I wanted one visit a year. And when I ask for more visit time, what I get is less visit time. So then this is the part of the email complaints that I've sent to both the adopters and both the agency as to, instead of me seeing progression, I see a regression in regards to developing this beautiful open adoption that I was told I was going to have. So to me, I feel preyed upon by the adopters and by the adoption agency. And I've had hopeful adoptive parents reach out to me before and told me that they were going to adopt through Bethany Christian Services, and informed me that they changed their minds once they saw how Bethany Christian Services goes about getting their adoptions, because they didn't feel right about pressuring vulnerable women into being separated. And I had a hopeful adoptive mother personally tell me this. So some people, it just shows that some people have a conscience when they go into adoptions and they see the red flags, and you're either willingly blind, you want to be willingly blindfold to how unethical things are going, especially because they're 20 years older than me. There's a lot of red flags. As I get older and more mature, like I realize that, you know, after a certain amount of time, they become willing participants of the abuse that is taking place.
Okay, so where do you go from here? Do you have any relationship at all to call? I mean, do they answer your calls? I mean,
no. And this is why I've been upset, because you know, because because I'm not getting the things that I was told I was gonna get, and there's no reason to not support me. And I'm supposed to be empowered in this process, and I haven't been empowered. I've been the opposite of empowered and supportive. You know, I'm supposed to be provided lifetime post-adoption support by both of them, and they haven't. Like, it's been nothing but trauma. So the only thing left for me to do is to report the adoption agency and to go public and show people what an open adoption can turn out to be. I'm sure that not every adoption is like mine, but there seems to be a pattern where many times we as mothers are told we're making the best decision, and it turns around and bites us in the ass because we were counseled in a predatory way where, you know, I wasn't told how traumatic it was going to be, that I was going to have to fight about visits, that I was going to have to fight about phone calls, and I was going to have to find out that this agency had a history in adoption fraud lawsuits, and I was going to have to figure it out myself that my counseling was completely illegal and what they did was fraud.
okay, and now you have an attorney now?
I've been reaching out, talking to a few and figuring out who is going to assist me in holding Bethany Christian Services accountable. You know, I'm getting my hospital records, trying to get those so I can have paperwork to show exactly what took place while I was in the hospital and the medication that I was in. And, you know, my contract is full out fraud. Like, it just shows the fraud. Like, I had a forced adoption. Like, what they did was illegal.
So best case scenario, what type of outcome are you looking for?
Best case scenario, hopefully restructure in the adoption community and to have adoptees have equal rights throughout all of the United States. To finally have that equality for adoptees. I mean, they should all be treated equal no matter where they are, you know, and to see how different the laws are throughout state is just ridiculous. I mean, how can an industry be making billions of dollars and then neglect the rights of the children they said they were there to help? I mean, how come some of them don't have citizenship? How come some of them can't look at their original birth certificates when they're trying to find their history? I mean, that is an abomination to me, to be honest.
Okay, the one thing that you said that strikes me a little odd, you said you named the baby and you didn't want them to change the name, but I don't think I've met any adopted parents that didn't name the child.
Okay, we as as first parents, we're not told that our children's name are going to be changed. I mean, how ethical is that to walk me to an adoption and then shock me with my child's name being changed? I mean, what was the point of me naming him if his name was just going to be changed without my consent? I wasn't even warned ahead of time. This was a shock to me. And then I talked to mom after mom, and they're like, oh, well, they changed my baby's name too. And it's like, it's a really traumatic experience. I mean, I don't understand why children's names are being changed in the first place. Like, if they already have a first name and an identity with their first name, what is the purpose? How is it helpful to change that child's first name? I mean, what reason is there to change a child's name when they already have a first name?
Because
how is that helping them?
But if the baby is a newborn, okay, definitely not if the child is 3, 4, 5 years old. You shouldn't change their name. But if the baby is a newborn, the adoptive parents usually name the baby because some of them even name them after their husband or after the grandfather or after another family member.
I named my child for a reason. You know, I gave birth to my child and I named my child, and his first name was stolen without my consent. I mean, how is this supposed to be a beautiful adoption experience in my eyes?
I
in my
agree
experience?
I agree they should have been upfront with you and let you know what was going to happen, and maybe you were very naive and didn't understand that, but most adoptive parents I don't know any that adopted a newborn and didn't name the child themselves. I don't.
And most moms that have been in my shoes, it's so traumatic for us to be shocked with this news that you changed our baby's name. I mean, it's like, how would anybody else feel if somebody changed their names? I mean, I just don't understand why anyone would do that to anybody. I mean, I gave birth to this child. That's my child, and I named him. And then and I'm supposed to be doing, quote unquote, a really good thing by having an open adoption, and you can't even respect the decisions I made pre-adoption as to naming my child. They give themselves the entitlement to think that it's respectable and okay to take what I had gifted my child, which was his birth name.
Yeah, I mean, they should have explained it to you, and like I said, you were young, and maybe you didn't understand that.
They never explained it to none of us, hardly. I never heard any of us being pre-informed that our children's name are going to be hijacked. I mean, that's how I feel. Like my child's name was. I don't recognize my child as his adoptive name. I mean, I had no say in that. I was not informed ahead of time. I was not asked. I mean, it's a complete violation to me.
Yeah, have you ever seen the adoption story on TV? Have you ever watched any of those open adoption stories?
To an extent, I've seen the Teen Mom episode with Bethany Christian Services. They had that teen couple that had an open adoption with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what show I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know Teen Mom. I don't watch it, but there used to be something called like a baby story, and then there was adoption story, and it was all about open adoption, and they showed you the whole process. Where they would be matched. Again, they have a profile up there. They're matched. They go and meet with the birth mother. Then, the birth mother calls them if she allows them in the room. They talk about that. Are we going to be allowed in when you're delivering?
Yeah, I wasn't asked any of that. I mean, I feel like there was I wasn't asked. I just feel like I wasn't a real human being during my interactions with Bethany Christian Services. I honestly feel like a slave to them. I feel enslaved to them for my reproductive system. That's how I feel. I mean, how else would you feel with an illegal adoption? And then, being told you're being helped, and then your child just gets taken under false pretenses, has his name changed. You don't even have access to they have video. Bethany Christian Services has a YouTube video, and they have a YouTube video about open adoption, and they show what an open adoption is like, and they talk about the birth mom coming over for dinner. That's not what I have experienced. And I asked them, how come you market like this and that's not what I have received? And I asked them, how come other moms are getting 3 visits a year and I don't get 3 visits a year?
I think it's because okay, maybe, yes, you were very naive on this, but usually, like I said, if it's an open adoption, a lot of the birth parents are on some site for the agency, and the birth mother goes through and picks the parents and then meets with them and talks with them, and before they decide, she says what she would like. If she wants 3 visits a year, she'd say that.
No, they didn't do that with me.
But that's what I'm saying.
Completely taken advantage of. So
right,
they need to be held accountable. It's not okay for them to market that they're helping vulnerable families and then exploit people for money, really.
Suzanne has the numbers from Jeff. Jeff, can you help Suzanne call in, please? Okay. Yeah. So no, I mean, I think it's, yeah, you were very young. You had no one there, and they had enough time. You were in the 6th month. You think that, you could have picked out a profile. You could have met with the parents. You could have talked about what you were looking for.
Honestly, I shouldn't have had an adoption. I shouldn't have had an adoption. Like, I didn't want to have an adoption, but the way they counseled me is they told me adoption was the best plan. And it wasn't. Like, how being traumatized is the best plan. And having an adoption experience like mine, where I have to now be public about it and disclose how unethical it is and report them left and right for their illegal activities, and all the censorship that is going on. They need to be fully honest about everybody's experience that they have interacted with. Like, there's so many of us that have been blocked from Bethany Christian Services to take our children and then claim you're helping us and then block us when you don't want to hear our feedback about how we really feel. And the reality of our experiences is unethical, and it's not honest marketing. Like, that's called predatory marketing, to not give full disclosure to the public and to mothers that are coming to them. And, they're just putting up this front about how beautiful adoption is, and not letting them know about all the other birth moms that are complaining and have been traumatized. I mean, they had given me like 20 letters from birth moms during my pregnancy saying how beautiful adoption was. And, they already had so many adoption complaints, and they didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me about all the fraud lawsuits and all the traumatized mothers when they came and counseled me. They withheld that from me, and just, and intentional misrepresentation of what adoption really was like. I mean, they don't mention trauma from relinquishment at all. Like, they definitely try to disconnect you from the fact that you have your child in your stomach and that you're bonding with your child. And it's really, what they're doing is not okay. And I've seen their updated marketing packet for pregnant women, and I've seen it, and it's not okay what they're doing. It's very misleading and very inaccurate information, and they don't want to update it to reflect the truth. I mean, there's many of us that have dealt with Bethany Christian Services, and we're not on board with the way they're going about getting their adoptions.
So are you in contact with everyone else? Like, are there people that are further along in this with Bethany Christian Services that?
Oh yeah, we got moms that have been dealing with open adoptions for the past 28 years. I mean, I've been into it 13 years, but I got another mom from Bethany Christian Services who went through the same office that I did, 28 years ago. And thank goodness that I have met all these other families and realized that I'm not an isolated instance. Like, this is a repeated pattern. We're spread across all of the United States, all of us. And, it's been a very lonely experience because I didn't have anybody to talk to before. Like, I felt so isolated, wondering what's wrong with me. Like, why am I, why can't I see my kids? Why did this happen? And then just realize that it wasn't me. What they did is wrong, and they're doing it, and they've been doing it. I found illegal adoption reports since 1955. I mean, you got to research them really good. And then the book called The Child Catchers by Catherine Joyce that specifically mentions Bethany Christian Services and all their adoption fraud scandals and how predatory they are. I mean,
yeah,
it's not okay it's too many adoption fraud lawsuits. There's just too many. I mean, how can you trust an agency with a trail of adoption fraud lawsuits? I mean, I'm not an isolated instance. Like I said, they have a current adoption fraud lawsuit going on in Tennessee right now. And, I'm in contact with like 10 different families from Bethany Christian Services that we have all been traumatized, and we were all lied to, and we're all very upset, and we're all censored. And they don't want to share our stories on their platform. They just want to go ahead and talk about how great it is. Well, what about all of us that are crying every day, wondering when we're going to see our child again, if we're ever going to be able to mend our relationship with our children?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. And Suzanne, what is it? What do you need? Jeff, I think Suzanne needs help. Suzanne, all you have to do is call the number and you'll come right in. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think I'm sure you sounded like at that time you were very naive. You did not know anything, and they preyed on you. And it's just it's terrible. And I'm sure there's many others that were in a situation like you were. And it's just it's not a good situation. And I feel for you. Do you have any other children?
No, my one and only child. My one and only child.
Okay.
And I just, yeah.
The birth father has no recourse at all?
He's very traumatized. I mean, we all deal with the trauma differently, but the whole family, I mean, his grandma has been asking to spend time with him. His grandfather hasn't seen him since birth. He has an aunt, he has an uncle, and they're all very close knit too. So for them also, I told them this was going to be an open adoption because that's what Bethany Christian Services told us. And, so they're very upset too. We're all very upset that this is how, everything has came to be. And when our family needed help, instead of helping us, they signed us up for this traumatic experience. And, I just, sometimes I wish they would just leave me alone, but I'm in this hold with them because they've taken my child. And, it's just, I don't want this to happen to anybody else. And, it's not an easy topic to talk about, and people get offended a lot of times when you talk about adoption trauma, or you try to, share your experience about how open adoption actually isn't that great, because, moms should really have, they should be fully told that you actually know you're not protected in adoption. Like if you sign an adoption contract and for any reason these strangers, and that's what they are, you sign a contract, an 18-year-old contract with strangers, and if you're lucky, they're going to be kind. But what about when they're not kind? And now what?
So what state do the adopted parents live in?
Luckily California, but I mean, it's not like, it's just, there's like nothing to repair what has happened. There's nothing to repair what has happened. I mean, it's just,
do they have other children, or is your son their only child?
No, they're infertile, and that's how it's just, Bethany Christian Services they prey on people's vulnerabilities. I mean, obviously this woman couldn't have children, and they exploited her and used her for adoption fee money, and exploited me and signed us up. Like, I can only imagine how they feel also. They were told that they were going to have a beautiful adoption, and here I am, extremely upset, filing fraud reports.
Right.
And
well,
this is what Bethany Christian Services does to many people, and so it's not quality for them.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Quantity.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the adoptive family, you can imagine how they feel too, right? Because now after 13 years, that they're. You're thinking they love your son. They think of him as their child. So now they don't know what you're planning or doing or going, right?
Yeah. But, with me personally, between me and them, like, they have not been kind to me. They should have been kind. And I told them for many years, like, please stop treating me like this. Please
Maybe
stop
they're
treating
acting
me like
out
this.
of fear. It could be that they're acting out of fear.
Yeah, but it's not okay to abuse somebody because you're fearful. I mean,
but maybe did you have like a liaison that could have worked between you and them?
I mean, that's wait, say that again.
A liaison that could have worked out the terms between you.
What is that?
Someone that go between.
Bethany.
Like a go between.
That's supposed to be but Bethany.
Yeah,
doesn't
but Bethany
help.
is not going to do it. Like, I mean, is there any kind of counselor or something that could have worked between you and them?
it takes two people to build a relationship, and I was hopeful thinking that I was going to have this beautiful relationship with them, but it's just been like I had to have a reality check and realize that they don't want a relationship with me. Like the only thing that they want, the only thing they want was my child.
Hi, Suzanne.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hi, Valerie. Suzanne is on now, so let's.
Okay, beautiful. I'm gonna head out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
I'm listening. I've been listening to every, excuse my French, Carolyn, every fucking thing this chick has been saying is good as hell. So what I want to say real quickly right now, this is a very important situation is, think about like baby boomer kind of situation. So what's, hey Carolyn, good to meet you, by the way.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So it's like, you got to think about stuff. I've got to talk about Aloha. Valerie, are you still there? You're in an
Yes, I'm here.
You're still there. All right. Just so you know, we got Oregon. We've got a lot of, just so you know, Carolyn, we've got a bunch of mothers that were frauded tuning into your show right now. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
So, yeah. So anyway, what Aloha is what her, social media, Valerie's talking about is, this is like, you got to think about, my whole deal is like the way the laws go. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you got baby boomer generation. You got what that means is you got to think about, like the people that were born via just after the war, like 1940s, yada, yada, yada. Then you got I need to fucking, excuse my French, bring up these infertile, barren female abusers. This is a huge fucking deal. This is a deal. This is a real thing. There are women that are infertile and their bodies are not built to give birth to children. They turn the fuck around and they fucking, that's a for real thing, dude. I don't know how else to say that. I'm just going to get right the hell into it. This is a deal. This is a deal. It happened with the baby boomer generation. So the baby boomer generation is, the 50s babies, right? And then there's what's called the baby scoop era. That's the mothers that were sent off to the nunnery and nobody talks about it. Yeah. Just like, oh shit, I was like a teenager and I had a baby out of wedlock and now we're just,
Right.
Like stuff
so
like
what
that.
Was your story, Suzanne? Did you have a baby that was
We're not
taken?
talking about my story, we're going to talk about the law. So
Oh, okay.
I got an email from the prosecutor of the state of Michigan. So my child, I'm a mother that was frauded. So the woman that's talking, that was just
Right.
talking, Aloha, Valerie.
Valerie, yeah.
All right. That's a very proper woman that's been talking to you. Thanks so much, Carolyn, for hearing that woman. And
Right.
I hope you're fucking listening to this chick because she's legit. Yeah. Time for these laws to change. So
Okay.
my whole deal is the laws need to change, okay? So what I am, I'll just really quickly, let me just introduce myself.
Okay.
I am an adoptee. What that means is I'm a person that was adopted.
Right.
Anybody listening or whatever, I'm a person that was adopted. So that's like, kind of sounds like divorcee or some bullshit like that, but it's literally, if you're an adopted person, they are called adoptee. So that's ADOPTTE, it's
Right. Adoptee. Yeah.
adoptee, right? Yeah.
Right.
So And I want to make it very clear that if you are an adoptee in the state of Michigan, in the state of anywhere in the United States, anywhere, I'm a Michigan adoptee. New York, whoop, whoop. By the way, that's a real cool unseal initiative, by the way. But your human civil rights are violated before you have any knowledge or consent of it. So if you're an adopted person, that basically means your human civil rights paperwork.
There's like an echo. I don't know if that's Valerie. I'm going to try to mute you. I don't know if it's Valerie or.
Okay.
I'm going to just see. Because I can't hear. Hang on. Let me see here.
I'm like going off on some law kind of shit. Yeah, that's a very, very respectable woman. That's that shit.
Let me see here.
Thanks, girl. That's awesome shit that you've been talking about. I've been listening. That's
Thanks.
Hawaii, right? That's what's your time frame over there? Gotta be. I'm Eastern Standard Time. I'm like just after midnight. So you have over there?
Okay, so Suzanne, you're bringing about legislation to change this? Is that what?
Absolutely.
Okay, I know you have colorful, but we have to. We are on YouTube, and we can't. So just say effing, or if you want to. Or all right, yeah. It's not even a fan. It's just because YouTube doesn't go. So
like, dude, don't like blow my channel out there. I understand. Last year though, Carolyn, yeah, that's good. So the New York initiative over in your guys' area.
Right.
So yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So if you're an adopted person, I'm an adopted person. What that means is my own literal birth certificate, my literal rightful identity, my birth certificate was taken from me without my knowledge or consent when I was a child. Yeah. Instead, I was legally provided with a fabricated document that stated that the people that adopted me apparently gave birth to me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very strange. That causes a lot of problems when you become an adult. So in the United States, you are an adoptee, which is what I am, and you find that out, that's a very, not only traumatic thing, but tangibly, and, when you have to get certain things done, legally, it's a very strange situation, because you can't even prove your own self.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a very, it's falsification. Like, that's very illegal, but it's legal somehow.
Okay.
So,
And so you're trying to get that, so that the birth, is that what you're working on? Are they still doing birth certificates like that with?
So with the New York, you guys over there, your side. So when you look at United States, like East Coast, over the New York initiative, yeah, that was passed. That was passed a few months ago.
Okay.
So.
And so I take it you don't sound like you have a good, you didn't have a good relationship with your adoptive parents?
Not at all.
Were they abusive?
Absolutely. But it was, they looked great. And that's the thing. So you got to think about infertile women.
Right.
What that chick that was calling in about was, you know what I'm saying? These
Right.
infertile females, that's literally, not to fast track this too, but like there's a real situation there when it comes to.
Well, yeah, I think she was very, very naive and very young and didn't know a lot about what she wanted or have a plan or didn't know that she could request that, or because it was only 13 years ago. I mean, it should have,
At the time she was, I think somebody chimed.
Hi.
Yeah, just wanted to call in, and I know you guys are discussing some things. I can't see the chat now while I'm on like this, but anyway, I'm just spectating, and I'm on here. So, hey, Susan, is
So now
Valerie still with us?
does this?
Yeah, I'm here.
This is to do. I thought that you were connected, right, with the woman that's going on trial next month.
Oh, are you talking to me, Carolyn?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I want to back this up a little bit if I can. I know everybody in the chat is new to this as far as Susan's case. I wanted to see if I could kind of ask Susan just a few questions to lead up to that.
Okay.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
All right.
aloha, everyone. I'm going to get off the phone and
Okay,
just
Valerie.
listen.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much. Blessings.
Thank you, Valerie.
From
All right, I'll
Hawaii.
check out your
Mahalo.
channel.
Aloha.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Proper woman. Strong woman. Go ahead with your question. What's the deal? I'm
Since Susan just, came on in the middle of everything that's going on, and we've already, into the heated topic of the legal discussions and whatnot. I want to back it up a little bit. And first of all, Susan is a 3-generation adoptee and birth parent. Okay, that's what I want everybody to understand. That's one reason why her story has such unique perspective.
Parent, I am my child's mother. I am not a birth
Okay.
parent. That's a thing that
Right.
known to the
Okay,
public.
but what I was saying earlier though is to try to just explain the 3 people that are in what is called a triad. So that's why I was referring back to that triad. So I mean, the terminology, yes, needs to be changed and whatever, but for the sake of separation of discussion, just to let these people know, a birth mother who
No.
child
You're
is
right,
no longer
Pablo.
with
We're
her.
not going to use that terminology. The word birth is honestly, Jeff, that's like connotation of saying like, that's like saying like the goose that laid the golden egg. That's like saying like, Carolyn, sorry about that.
Hey, Suzanne, but
Jeff,
I already explained to the chat earlier, and for the sake of separation so that they understand what makes up a triad when it concerns adoption, that's
we're
why
gonna
I'm saying
actually
that.
inform the public here. I do not like that terminology, birth. That is not what's going on. I am my child's mother. I am my child's mother. I was frauded. Carolyn had asked me earlier about what's going on with this baby predator, Tara Lee case.
Mhm.
Let's get into that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So she goes on trial
Okay.
next month, right?
Mother, what's that?
I just wanted people to understand a little bit more where Susan is coming from and her unique perspective on this before just jump into this woman has a child, because I think that would help more people understand where
Carolyn,
she's
I got
coming
an email from
that
the
aren't familiar with it.
prosecutor yesterday, just so you know. So this Tara Lee baby predator, she's a baby predator, just so you know.
Right.
I got an email from the prosecutor yesterday. Sarah, what word's her name? So this case is state of Michigan. Guess what, Carolyn? Dude took himself, he recused himself from the case.
The prosecutor excused himself in the case?
No.
No.
The attorney that's been representing this baby predator.
Oh, representing the baby, the defense attorney.
He's out. How do I I screenshotted so I could show you guys. I think this shit's hilarious. Whoop, here I go with the swears, but hilarious.
So
I'm like,
she's supposed to go on trial next month, right?
Nobody's gonna touch. Nope. It's here we go again. I mean,
It's postponed now because the attorney.
Oh,
withdrew.
because the attorney
This
backed
is
out.
Mhm.
Her defense attorney backed out. So
fourth.
just for people that don't know who she is, now she ran an agency. Did she run her agency or?
No, she's
No.
got. This is a literal baby broker.
A baby broke. So she was promising
am
these children.
one
Was it
of
through the internet? Through what? How was she promising
She
people
was,
babies?
she was acting as a nonprofit organization that placed babies, yeah.
For how many years?
Do you want me to talk, or I don't know?
Whoever who knows how many years?
So, Carolyn, basically, I'm one of the many. I'm one of like 140 plus
Mhm.
women that were frauded by a baby broker that was literally posing and advertising herself to be a licensed, she's not, baby, licensed pregnancy therapist who's, quote, apparently, supposedly supposed to be running the licensed pregnancy therapy resource center.
Okay,
Okay.
so Suzanne, in this
Suzanne,
case,
can
you
you
were
tell
trying
how-
to adopt a
how
baby
you met up?
with Tara?
No,
No.
The other,
That's why I was trying to back up a little. You want to tell them about how the doula, how you met the doula, and they're the one that referred you, right?
say it again, Jeff? What?
You met the doula first that you were going to use
Right,
to help you during the
Yeah,
pregnancy,
yeah.
and then she
Carolyn,
she hired the doula.
That's by very screwed up people.
Okay, so I just want to clear this up so we know. Your dealings with Tara were you were trying to place a baby with her so she could play? No,
No.
or you were not adoption either.
To get pregnancy therapy. I thought
Pregnancy therapy?
someone's trying to call me. What's going
Oh.
on here?
Someone's I don't know.
Can you hear that? Like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
it sounds like it's your Google Voice or something coming.
How do I stop it?
Yeah, I think it'll stop after a number of rings.
Okay. So anyway, let me answer your questions. Like, yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Carolyn, sorry.
She's basically wanting to establish how you got involved first with Tara Lee, and that was through the doula that you hired, right? And she's the one that referred you, and you went through what they called pregnancy counseling, which pretty much was brainwashing, I believe.
Probably. So, Carolyn, I'm 36 years old.
Okay.
I was born in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
My own mother, my real mother, went mysteriously missing in the year 1986, right around the time that the people that adopted me petitioned the state of Michigan to adopt me. My real mother's mother, my real grandmother, also went mysteriously missing. I hired a certified genealogist. We still can't find a death certificate for my real grandmother. Also went mysteriously missing. So we're tracking that. Sorry about the censorship here. So we're trying to track down my family.
Okay.
That's the thing. I was adopted by the good old Trump-loving, old money sociopathic, white people.
Mhm.
Good old Catholic, Trump-loving people. So it's been rough.
Okay.
I'm biracial. I
Uh-huh.
was the black baby at the Grosse Pointe Yacht Club, and it was very scary stuff. I didn't know it at the time, and then 3 decades later, I became pregnant with my one and only child, And I was like, you people need to get away from me. They started like stalking me. They literally were surpassing security in my home, my apartment, my office building, all of it. Like they, you know, they didn't have control over me anymore. It was very scary shit. So, I had no support. The only way I told Jeff that too. It's like the only way I know how to describe what happened to me was like if anybody has seen that cult-like religion, that Scientology bullshit, where these people are tax exempt somehow. You know what I mean? But when those people actually figure out what the hell's happening to them and they try to get out, that's what did.
Okay. So they're saying, so Suzanne was adopted and she also placed a child for adoption?
I didn't place my child. That's the thing. That's what's going on, Carolyn. So the abuse cycle, I tried to keep my child safe. That's when they came after me. Yep.
Okay, so when did you become pregnant with your child?
In 2017, my child.
So you were 34?
I was 33 years old.
33.
I'm
And
33.
you were going to keep and raise your child.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now,
Right.
are you saying that your child is placed with another family?
Yeah, he's with scary people.
How did that
Absolutely.
happen?
Very scary shit. Oh, Susie, the only way you're going to keep Augie safe from the stalking, this, that, the other thing, place him with him, place him with him. So this lady that's now in the custody of the U.S. Marshal, yeah, she's been there since March 11th. Yeah, her name is Tara Lee. She's a literal baby broker.
Okay. And you got involved with her?
Yeah, I thought she was a therapist. I literally thought this chick was a therapist, right?
Mm-hmm.
The chick had all my information.
And so what happened? Are you testifying at the trial?
I'll speak.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. There's no trial now. So here's the deal now. So with this Tara Lee bullshit, so this baby predator was formally indicted, and there was a superseding indictment. So she was initially indicted with 18 felony charges. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She was flipping babies, including my son, in which I was unaware of.
Right. And I heard there were no babies. She was promising the same baby to several couples.
Yep. Yeah.
Correct?
And
Yeah.
now, like, the FBI is just like, bah, bah, bah. You know how traumatizing it is to just be a mother, to hear the way it's like these people that paid money for a baby and they didn't get a baby. What about the literal families that were separated? I'm traumatized, dude. My child is
So, but just tell me how this happens, okay? Because here's what it is. When you give birth in that hospital, how do you just
They surrounded me in my hospital bed 46 hours after I gave birth to my child. In the state of Michigan, it is not legally okay to do that. They are not supposed to surround a woman or do anything or approach a woman unless it's 72 hours after she gives birth to a child. We're going fast.
Yeah, a lot of people in chat were wondering about that rule. I think it's different every state.
Predator and these, what do you want to call them? Are they apparently great or whatever? They're supposed to be lawful. You know, these baby predators, these psychos that have my child now, they're lying like nobody's business. We got them on paperwork. They're like, we never hired this Tara Lee, bah, 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 right? You're like, what? What? Yeah. what are you talking about? But anyway, in the state of Michigan, no one's supposed to even approach a mother. Like, it's disgusting. It's like the goose that laid the golden egg.
But okay, were you a single mom? Was the father involved with the pregnancy?
I'm not going to answer those questions because there's a lot of stuff that's
Okay. So, did you have any support in the pregnancy? Did you have your parents or
not at all.
nobody? Nobody.
Everything myself.
Okay. So, and then
Pregnancy
when you
yoga.
went to the hospital, okay, when you went to the hospital, was it on your birth plan or anything that the baby was going to be given up?
Yeah, they had it all written out. It's what's called Carolyn. It's now I know. Didn't know at the time. It's what's called a fast track adoption. So this Tara Lee, this baby predator, I didn't know this at the time. I thought I was literally getting pregnancy therapy, right?
Right.
This lady was literally, it's psychological abuse. It's like, and so we sent out a bunch of, so the state of Michigan, that Human Civil Rights Division, we couldn't get her, we couldn't slap her with them. We got her with the Department of Human Civil, we got her, we slapped what do you call it? January 14th, we got her. She wasn't allowed to go into hospitals. What's that thing called where it's like you're not legally allowed to do this anymore?
A protection order?
We got her. No, it was injunction.
Oh, okay.
On January 14th, 2019. That's when the state of Michigan, Human Services, and the Child Welfare Licensing Division, they said, Miss Pleva, what would you like to see? And I'm like, this. That's when they slapped her with that injunction, and they says, this chick's not allowed to go into any hospitals, not allowed to work around doulas, midwives, There was very strict mandates on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that, yeah. She continued to do all of it. Anyway, but
now
I'm sorry, Carolyn. It's so traumatic. I can't even.
No, I understand. Were you paid any money? Were given any expense money or anything from this? Nothing?
Not at all. Well, I paid for my medical expenses for my child's hospital.
And then when did they take the baby from you? Would you say when did they actually take the baby from you?
My child was born on June 9th, 2017 in downtown Detroit, Michigan, Hutzel Women's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He was taken from the hospital from the couple that fraudulently adopted him on June 11th.
Did you meet with the couple?
They were in my hospital room to the point that they wouldn't even leave my room when I wanted to take a shower. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Okay, and at that time, were you saying, I don't want to give the baby up? I don't want to give the baby up?
Constantly. Like that Tara Lee, it was, these therapy sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
no, you need to do this. You need to do this.
Okay.
I don't have I was also adopted by sociopaths. So, but they got money, so apparently it's okay. You know? So
but
I was literally coming out of the, Carolyn, you need to listen to literally everyone needs to hear me right now.
okay.
I was literally coming out of what the adoptee community knows as out of the fog. I didn't realize at the time. I just knew these people are scary. I need them, so F-U-C-K, away from me and my child. So within a 2.5 week time frame, my child was gone. Yeah, I didn't have anybody helping me or asking me if I was okay or if I needed anything. Instead, they were literally stalking and harassing me.
You didn't have friends or coworkers or anyone that could have, no?
Nope. No. I've been character assassinated since I've been born. I grew up with a mommy dearest. Yeah.
Okay, and so you're not in, your adoptive parents were not involved at all?
They're not parents, but they are my what's called adopters.
Right, adopters. You were not involved at all with, they didn't come to the hospital?
Oh, they're screwy. Like, I don't want them anywhere near me. Those people are so creepy and toxic. Like, it's a very screwed up situation. But to society, they look great. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so now, is your case with, I mean, is Tara Lee being prosecuted for is your case among those cases?
Yeah.
It is. And what are you looking to get your son back?
Absolutely. Excuse my French. My
Okay.
child.
Do you have any contact with his birth family? I'm not his adoptive family. I'm sorry. I keep
They
making
are not his family. His family is me.
his adopters. Okay. Do you have any contact with his adopters?
The last email I got from I would like to bring this up right now, Carolyn, and this is a huge thing. This is why I wanted to talk with you, because you have a very massive following. I want to talk about female abusers, if this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do this? Can I bring
Sure.
this?
Yeah, just try to edge spell the cursing.
Women that are infertile. I'd like to talk about women that are infertile and how that leads to narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to talk about how narcissistic female abusers and adoption, it's a cesspool for abusers to literally just boom, nab a baby up. And I'm going to say that because I am one of those babies. So I can say that.
So why do you think infertile women are narcissists?
There's literal studies on it.
I mean, that's probably hurtful. I mean, a lot of infertile women, they have no control.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds scary. That's like, oh my gosh, you know, everything's like, oh my gosh, how could you say that? It's the truth and it's reality.
But why? I mean, why? Just can you give me an example why? You say that?
Infertility leads to narcissism due to, because of, they have issues. They have problems with, what do you want to call it? What do you say?
I don't understand. So that's why I'm asking you.
Here's links. You know what I mean? Like, issues with, they don't have confidence. What's the word for that?
But they're not infertile because they don't have confidence. They could be infertile because they lost. What?
Because of infertility, these chicks, there's a specific breed of women that literally I need to.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy, please. I can barely hear it. Jimmy, I cannot hear.
Oh
my goodness.
I can't hear you.
Jimmy, please.
Okay. And I've got whatever this person.
Okay, so. But yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that. I have to say, because I know infertile women and they're not.
You're a fertile woman that has children, so you wouldn't understand.
But I have friends that cannot have children, and I don't feel they're narcissists.
Yep, you're a societal norm that would feel bad for an infertile female. Yep, sounds about right. So if a chick adopted a kid, you would think she was a savior. as opposed to actually looking at the child.
But can I tell you something? The savior, that whole savior thing, a lot of people that have 10 kids, they're adopting kids from Africa and stuff. And so you could say that about them too, that they think they're a savior, right?
So Carolyn, here's my question to you. So you're like, stop, like you're like, don't deem me. But here's my question, and this is what with advocacy, with what my community does, is our mission is to inform the public of what we go through, okay? So I'm what's called a domestic adoptee, okay?
Yes.
So can you ask that question you just asked again about what you just said about some chick adopting a kid from Africa, right? So
No, I said there was a lot of issues in the Christian evangelist. They were having many children of their own, and then they were going to other countries and adopting more, and then there was abuse coming from it because what they were doing was not always based on the best interest of the child, but that kind of savior thing, and everybody in the church was doing it, so they were doing it, and then a lot of children were dying at their hands, or they were relinquishing children because there was just too many in the house, and then they brought it. I mean, it was a big thing. So I'm saying it doesn't just have to be someone. You're saying that savior thing. That savior thing can happen from a woman that's birthed 10 children. If you're following me.
On like kind of a statement. So what? I get what you're saying about well, either way, here's my deal. So what I need to make sure, because I know you've got a pretty solid following, Carolyn, is like, I'm an adoptee, and it was terrible. And actually, the last couple of weeks, like the people that are aware, like in my community, were like the ones that are just like brainwashed, like nobody's business. I'm so happy. It's never, 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 never okay to separate a person and violate their fundamental human civil rights. So I'm an adoptee. That means for some reason, somehow, why was my literal blatant paperwork, my literal identity was stripped from me without my knowledge or consent.
Okay. But here's the thing, okay? Can I just tell you, just as a mother that's given birth in,
what would you do if you or your children had their paperwork literally stripped from them?
But here's what I'm saying. I'm going to tell you what I would do. When I had my baby in the hospital, and I've had babies at a very young age, technically a teenager was my first one, okay? But the minute they put my daughter in my arms, if anyone, and let's just say anyone was going to take her from me.
Were you surrounded by people that supported you?
Yes, I was.
There it is.
But I'm saying, why would you sign that why? Why would you sign that paper?
How many people were in the hospital room with you that supported you? Were you not by yourself?
I was not by myself, no. I was not.
Baby or not?
I'm sorry?
Were you surrounded by people that were constantly telling you, give us your baby? Or
no.
Were you surrounded by people that loved you and your child?
I was, but that's why I'm asking you, because I thought you...
Think about that. Think about that, Carolyn.
I understand that. Okay. But you were...
Do you actually?
I'm sorry?
It's a very serious situation.
Okay. But what I'm saying, you were 33...
Psychological abuse, especially when you go through narcissistic abuse, and it's a very serious situation.
Okay. But did you agree to give the baby up? You must have. You told me before.
46 hours, dude. I didn't eat for 2 days. I was on. They drugged me up, and then I had 4 people shoved in my face. You know. Do you think that's coercion? Do you think that's me choosing to do that? What do you think? You tell me, though. So you tell me now. That's me choosing to do that? You tell me now, because you had people that loved you and
no, but okay.
And you know what?
But
You tell
but
me now.
when you left that hospital, then I would have gone to the police. I would have.
I did.
You did.
Absolutely, I did. And where do you think that lady is now? She's going to prison, Carolyn. That's right. That's absolutely right. And my child will know. You understand me?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm the third generation of this abuse, this cyclical abuse.
At this time, Jeff is emailing me, how much do you hate me?
Child is, enough is enough. The isolation, the abuse, enough is enough.
Okay.
The only way I know how to describe it, Carolyn, is literally like those people that escape that weirdo cult-like religion, Scientology, and they are literally stalked, harassed, or trapped. That's literally what I'm going through. So,
Okay.
for me to try to describe what the hell I'm going through is very hard. To tell you what I'm going through is it is terrorization. It is the worst.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel for you if you were coerced into that, and it shouldn't be. And the woman is going on trial, so she apparently, there's enough information
There's
that she
no more
prayed.
trial. So November 19th was supposed to be the sentencing again,
Right.
and now the lawyers, he bowed out, which is hilarious to me.
So it's just going to be postponed, but there will be, right?
Again, that's the fourth postponement.
Okay. Well, but I mean, she's still
Wait
in
2
custody.
years. I can wait longer.
How old is this woman, Tara?
That Tara Lee, I think she's like 37 years old. She's a sociopath. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yeah. This lady's, I had a call. You know what it's like to get, I don't make much money. I only made like 37 grand a year. I make a teacher's salary. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The character assassination I've been through, the marginalization with society because I'm a freaking whistleblower, all of this shit. I got a call from one of the other mothers. There's 140 plus now. She was suicidal, and I was on the phone with her for like 4 hours trying to just like calm it down. You don't understand what it is. As long as my child is on this earth, I will never stop because I have been through what's happening right now to my child. The people that fraudulently adopted my child are now lying about the fact that they never worked with or hired Tara Lee. So, yeah, it's like that. It's terrible.
But you have your contracts and everything you signed, correct?
Oh, I have. That in itself was weird. What did you just say?
No, I just said I have said you have your contracts and everything.
That was like a coercive question, the way you said it.
No, I'm saying you said the adopters of your son said they do not have, they did not have any dealings with Tara. Did you just say that?
That's correct.
So that's why I asked you if you had contracts that showed that it did.
That she was on them, absolutely. And that lawyer that just bowed out yesterday, I got that email from the prosecutor yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like literal on-camera interviews with the attorney stating that, who's this person?
Hi, Zelda.
Hey.
Hey, Zelda.
Hey, Zelda.
Right. Okay, so Carolyn, this attorney, this guy's on-camera thing, her signature is nowhere. She never signed any paperwork. I'm like, yep. Like, everywhere on my child's paperwork is that lady's signature. Everywhere. It's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just like, it's so, you know what I'm saying? Like, the judges, the nurses, all of it. Like, FBI's got to do search better, search better, search better, get better at it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know how people pay attention to the media. They're just like, oh, whatever they say.
Hello.
Hi, Zelda.
Hey, Zelda.
Hello.
Hi. So, did you want to say what your story was? I don't know if she can hear us. Can you hear us, Zelda? I don't think she can hear
Zelda,
us.
can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Jeff. Yeah.
Oh, Jeff, are you on? You're hearing me ranting over here?
Can you hear us anymore,
Ranting?
Zelda? I don't know where Zelda. I think she's turning on a light.
What's that, like a fireplace? Or?
Yeah. Hi, Zelda.
No, looks like
Hi.
she's like,
Hi, Zelda. Can you hear us, Zelda? I think she's.
Zelda.
Can you hear us, Zelda?
Hi,
Hi. Can you hear us?
I'm here.
Hi. So, did you want to tell your story?
Yeah. I'd like to first add my mother was an RN who was head of OB/GYN.
Mm-hmm.
where? What state, Zelda?
In what state?
I can hear you.
Oh, in what? Oh, you heard?
Can you hear my voice?
Oh, yeah.
I can hear you fine.
Oh, okay.
I hear you fine.
All right. So she, Suzanne asked, what state was your mother a nurse in?
Yes. There is my fireplace.
Oh, I think she's on a delay.
Hello.
No, because she's answering the fireplace now. So it must be a delay.
But you're delayed.
Yeah.
Yes.
That?
It's really echoey.
What? Okay. All right.
Okay. So
Oregon and California.
in California. Okay.
Galley. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. You
She
can
was
go.
an RN in Loma Linda University Hospital, El Cajon,
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What's El Cajon?
and then in Oregon.
Oh, Oregon. Okay. Okay. Where in Oregon? Is it like northeast, southwest Oregon? I have a very good friend. Her last name she's a birth mother over there. There's a
Yeah.
lot of weird shit going on over there. Did you have anything with Mormons?
Should
or
I just listen to my cell phone?
I don't. I think maybe,
What?
but no, you can't. Yeah, because then there'll be an echo if you try to do that. If you have to listen to that, then you have to wear your earbud.
I don't know what's happening.
She's on a
Still
delay
got
though.
the show playing. It's a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay on Zelda's thing.
Seems
Portland area.
You have like two devices going on?
No, she's trying to listen to her phone, but it's on a delay.
Okay.
Was outside Portland, Oregon.
Oh.
No, it was that kind of.
You have a person on the phone? With
No,
you?
she's listening to herself on YouTube. She's listening to me and everybody on YouTube, and she's answering the question. She's on a delay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it
So
turned
we're
off
hearing the
my
feedback.
computer and I'm just on my cell phone.
Okay, but can you listen with your earbuds? So
Yeah,
is it,
right.
is it? Can you
Right.
do that?
Carolyn? Carolyn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have time, they said down in chat that another birth mom from the BCS just sent you an email to ask if she could do a quick call in about her experience.
Okay.
I know it's like a lack of terminology, but it's super triggering. Let's not call it birth. That's a natural mother. That's not a birth mom. That's like
Well, her name is, it's Valerie's name is underage birth mother. That's why I was telling Carolyn who it was. Underage birth mother is her name.
Oh, from Hawaii? The chick from Hawaii?
Yeah, she said another birth mom just sent you an email. Suzanne, quit tripping on it. I'm in the UFB too, but I'm
Yes,
just
I'll
telling
put
you
my
what I'm reading what was said. You know?
earbuds on now.
Hey, Jeff, I totally just ignored everything that you said with that last one. What's the email say? From Valerie.
This is a quote from chat. It says, from underage birth mother is the poster's name down here in chat. Underage birth mother says, another BCS birth mom just sent you an email to ask if she can do a quick call in. I'm just quoting what the chat says down here from underage birth mother.
And then Cheryl Young.
I just want to weigh in too. I just want to weigh in. I mean, I understand perfectly. I understand Susan's side, but you know, just to distinguish the people, I mean, I am not offended, just so everybody knows my own personal intake. I believe in the triad. It's just a simpler way to address things, especially for people that aren't familiar with any of this terminology. And that, to me, the triad means the adoptee, the birth mother, and the adoptive parents. So that's all I mean by that. And I don't mean any offense to Susan.
So anyway, Jeff totally get it though. Hey Carolyn, what are we doing about? Hey Jeff, too. What are we doing about what's happening over here? It says Cheryl Young.
That's Zelda. That's Zelda. I guess she's trying to get her sound up. She has a story as well.
Are we just we're gonna just wait maybe?
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, she has to get herself set up. And I think I just gave a number to another birth.
Sorry. Yeah, man. That's for real.
I mean, she actually, okay.
First or natural mother is better terminology.
Okay, natural mother that wants to call in.
Yep. Yeah. That in itself.
She had twins in 1991 and has a lot to say. Yeah, I just gave her the
Your
number.
boys are so cute, by the way, Carolyn. I was like, oh my gosh. They're so cute. I actually thought, I was like, wait, is he? And I'm like, oh my gosh, nope, different. I was like, glasses? What? I kind of web stalked you a little bit, and I was like, wait. I'm a musician, so I'm a classical piano instructor. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, Zelda is too a musician.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
I think she's trying to fix her.
What is it with adoptees and music? Very weird, huh?
What's the matter, Jeff?
Oh, I just said, wonder what it is about adoptees and music.
Oh.
Because I'm a musician as well.
Cheryl Young? Is that like
That's
thing?
Zelda.
Okay. Is that what you're seeing? Like.
Oh yeah, but that's I mean she uses Zelda on YouTube. Zelda.
Oh.
Okay, Sari shares down here in chat just asked, what if the caller, meaning Zelda, wants to be referred to as a birth mother? Will there be an issue with Susan if she wants to call herself that?
Jeff, can you say it again, but more clearly so I can hear it? Something about what?
He said, what if a caller that wants to be referred to as a birth mother, are you going to have an issue with that? If the woman who calls in wants to be referred to as a birth mother, would you have an issue with that?
I mean, it's going to be triggering, but I mean, if the chick thinks, I would immediately think that chick was probably a certain generation. I would immediately think that chick was older than me because of the terminology.
Well, I'm older than you. Maybe that's why I still use it.
Zelda, are you good now?
I use a lot of terms because I'm old. Don't rub it in.
No, Jeff, did you say whatever, writer or caller said something like that? No, that's whatever, man. That's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's a problem.
No, if someone is wanting to call in now soon while you're on panel, and I believe she has given birth to a child or children, and she might want to call herself a birth mother, just like your friend down in chat just calls her chat name is underage birth mother. I mean, there are a lot of people that use that term. I mean, I really am
I get
sorry
it.
that you personally.
Jeff, I get it. Because
I mean,
you're like
Yeah, I'm going to turn my cell phone off,
adapted as well. Yeah, and like I totally get that.
and I got to put my earbuds on.
Okay, Zola.
For some reason, I get a lot of calls and messages from, this is for real, Jeff and Carolyn, a lot of members of the male species that are like my age and younger, mid-20s to my age that...
Okay, back up. I've never been referred to as species before. Boom, mic drop.
Oh, good point.
I'm not offended. I'm just saying it's, I get it. We're Homo sapiens. We are a species.
Jeff, I don't know why that's a thing, but like that's literally, for some reason, you guys, I don't know. I don't know. My brother is also like a male adoptee, you know what I mean? I actually think it's a good thing because it's like, that's people trying to find the truth out, in my perception. I'm like, to me, I think that's a good thing because I think that's a good thing. Like members of the male species are, you know what I mean? Like actually trying to be like, what happened? Like, what's going on? And my whole deal with that is like, if an adoptee is going to contact me like that, I'm not going to do the, I think that, blah, 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 blah. What I'm going to say to them is, check the laws in your state about what's going on. That's the facts, like the truth, the facts, and the reality. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you were adopted, that means, Jeff, you know this, that means, unfortunately, if you were adopted, that means that, your literal identity.
Zelda, can you hear us yet?
Was that Carolyn?
You can hear us? Yeah, it's me.
Oh, okay.
Is Zelda with us now?
Yeah, can you hear us now, Zelda?
Okay.
Okay, you want to tell your story? I think she's still on a delay, though.
Okay.
Zelda.
Should I just keep talking? Whatever.
No, she's not muted, Lisa.
Carolyn, did you know that though? Like an adopted person, literally their birth certificate is falsified. It's literally, in quote, legally sealed from them.
Yes. I've explained before that my birth certificate.
Yeah, no, I mean, did I know that?
I
I know that the names. I know that most adoptee parents or adopters or what change the baby's name.
Yeah, there's more to it than that, though.
Carolyn, I think that she's talking about, and April down here in chat, just let me explain what mine is. It is falsified, April.
I think we're going to have to continue this tomorrow night because we're just getting to the crux of this. We haven't even gotten to the true craziness, which is coming up. Now, it's a shame, as I said, that woman Zelda just kind of, she went with that crazy that craziness with that alleged psychologist who harassed me, lied about me, did all that stuff. She got in with that, and then with the other one that gave me the death threats, and she just went on and said the most vile, hateful, disgusting things. And I never had much to do with this woman at all, okay? But it literally, you couldn't believe the things coming out of this woman's mouth that she wrote down,
Okay, horrendous. Okay, so it just even irks me to see her here. I wish I could like just remove them, but we will have to finish this tomorrow because I have to get a little rest so I can get up because I get up like 9 in the morning on Sunday. Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here for the 3 videos today. The one earlier today, and then the auction, and then this. And I hope everybody has a good night and get some good rest. And we'll see you tomorrow. God bless, prayers, and keep Evie's friend Vicky and her family and friends in your prayers, and Dina, Elizabeth, and her husband, and everyone in our community needs prayers, so just keep everybody in them. And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, God willing. Love you guys. God bless. And all right, I've got to end this here. Let me find the thing to end this because I'm not even in the right. Let me see if this is it. Okay, no, that's not it. Okay, hang on. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody be good.